Welcome to another Bandology interview. Bandology is a Canadian nonprofit dedicated to more music for more kids via education, collaboration, and community.
Hi everyone, my name is Lucas Redwood and I'm the Manager of Music and Learning with Bandology. Bandology is a proud Canadian nonprofit music organization dedicated to supporting more music for more kids. I'm here with Bruce Outridge. Bruce is the host of several podcasts, including the Cashing In on Creativity podcast and a television show called Inspiring Youth. He is also a visual artist, an author, and a motivational speaker. How are you doing today, Bruce?
Good. Thanks for having me on, Lucas. Always fun talking with you, my friend.
Absolutely. So let's start off. Can you describe a bit about yourself and your current career occupations? I know you have a bunch of, you wear many hats.
How long's the show? No. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I guess I'll do what I'm doing currently, just to let people know. So I'm a caricature artist. I'm sure people have seen them at the theme parks like Wonderland or whatever, where they draw you as a funny face. That's what I do for weddings and corporate events. I'm got my podcast, the trucking podcast, the Lead Pedal podcast is the other one. You mentioned the Cashing In on Creativity podcast. So I have the two podcasts going, a radio station, and still writing books and writing articles for different magazines and different platforms and keeping out of trouble and trying to talk with you. That's good. That's good.
Awesome. That's awesome. And so what led you to want to become a podcast host?
I didn't know anything about podcasting. When I started podcasting, and this was back in 2015, I've always done training. As you mentioned, I'm a speaker, and I've been training. I work with a lot of the truck training schools, teaching new drivers. So I was doing that already, and I thought, how can I share more information on business and careers, outside of the course? And I was going to do video. I was actually going to start a YouTube channel, which I'm sure most of your viewers are used to seeing a YouTube channel. But truck drivers shouldn't be watching video. They're driving down the road, and they drive down the road like 10 to 13 hours a day. So I thought, then I said, how can I get that to them without video? And podcasting was I guess it was in before, but it was just really starting to get hot at that time. And said, that's the perfect medium for me. And I haven't looked back. I love it.
That's very cool. Awesome, Bruce. And you also have a television show. So similar to that, what inspired you to highlight the work of youth on your television show, Inspiring Youth?
You did, actually. You've been on it. I don't know how many times. So you're a regular. We're almost calling it the Lucas Show. No, I don't know if you know about this. In the Halton area here, there's it's like a dinner. It's an evening called Men and Career Coaches. There's one for women too. It's Women and Career Coaches. I think Hayek puts it on, Halton Industry Education Council. They put it on for high school students. So I was invited to that particular event as a speaker. They asked me to talk about my career and how I got into it. I was one of 6 speakers that night. I didn't know anything about it. Like I actually had taken my daughter, was looking to upgrade her computer skills. And I said, well, here, go to the school that I went to as an adult to do that. So I took her there. They said, oh, you'd be great for this event. So they signed me up and said, would you be a speaker? Okay. And I did that. And I was sitting at a table with the station manager for Cogeco. He was brand new. He had just started there, but he had come from another television network. And he sat next to me, and after my presentation, he said, have you thought of doing a television show? And I hadn't. I didn't even cross my mind that I would be on TV. And he said, what would you so he said, if you think of doing it, come and see me. So I went and saw him. I made an appointment to go see him the next week. And he said, what would you like to do? And I said, well, I was really inspired by the people in that room. David Vandenberg, which I think David's been on our show a couple times. Very inspired with him being ambitious and some of the things he's done in the community, the speakers that were on for this event, and the students that were sitting at our table and talking to us about what they might want to do in the future. And so I said, why don't we call it Inspiring Youth? This way I'm trying to inspire youth, and youth are hopefully being inspired by the people on the show. And that's how it started. We're going into season 5 now starting, so it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that is very exciting, and I really, really enjoyed being on the show, as you mentioned several times.
Yes,
And
you're award winner last year. Award winner last year. You're the last guy for season 4. So every year we pick a guy that's really ambitious. You won last year, so congrats.
thank you. Yeah, and you also came out to in 2019. We had you come out to our band camp and do a segment on that. So that was
Yes.
very, very cool to showcase some of the younger high school musicians getting a chance to perform in a community environment.
Yeah, and that's the whole idea of the show, right? Is that if you're somebody who's young and you want to play an instrument or you want to be a musician like yourself, how do you get started? Like, do I just go out and start playing drums like you did, or do I go to a place like Bandology? And that's what we're showing people is, hey, okay, it's not easy, as you know, being a working musician. It's very hard work, but you can do it. But here's where you start. You've got to learn how to start somewhere playing the instrument, and then after that, you can move into, the business side where you are currently kind of moving into. So, there's lots of options. So a lot of people don't know where to start. So that hopefully the show gives them an idea of here's where you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. So being with all of your different businesses, how have you managed to keep yourself active as an artist while you're managing all your different businesses?
So you're asking how I've gone from going crazy. Yes, it's very hard from the art standpoint. So my events, so I do weddings and corporate events. So I'm at a wedding and corporate event almost every weekend. So the art, and we get commissions. Like I'm doing a commission right now for somebody. They'll send me pictures of themselves and I draw them in whatever scenario. So the art is a matter of just improving yourself ongoing, and you get projects. I improve through my projects when I'm not doing a project. Like if I'm traveling somewhere, I love to sketch old homes and landscapes and stuff like that. So you're kind of always improving through your art just by doing the business is how I keep my art going. I do take a lot of workshops. I'm part of a lot of associations where I get education that way. So it's really just about time management is the secret to keeping all the balls going at the same time.
Absolutely. Do you have any particular favorite events or moments throughout your career that you've experienced so far?
Lots of them. I've got some awards, and those are always nice to receive. But those aren't my favorite events. I think it's when you're out talking to people and they say, hey, I saw your show and it really changed the way that I do things. Or I just was teaching this week at a truck training school, and to see someone's eyes light up that, wow, here's the potential that they hadn't even thought of before. To me, that's the cool part, where you talk to people and yourself, you and I have had many conversations over the years about where you could go and the kind of things that you can do. And, to see you go, wow, I didn't think of that. And then to connect you with, people like Rich Redmond, who I know you've talked with, is like, wow, okay, here I've helped somebody, improve their life. And through that, you improve your own life. Once you get into teaching, I'm sure you've experienced this because you're an instructor with Bandology and stuff that, you're showing someone how to play something. All of a sudden they get it and they go, wow, now I understand. From a teacher standpoint, you go, hey, you know what? I helped that person understand that. It's a pretty cool feeling, to do that. So I've had many of those through my life. I could say that every time my marriages were good and all of that, but I think those are the prime moments, when someone will come up and say, I really love your podcast. It changed the way that I do things, or, hey, it helped me go down a different road because I saw your television show. Those are the cool things I think that really make it for me.
Absolutely. Yes, for sure. And on the flip side of that, are there any challenges or things that you've had to kind of specifically maybe towards throughout the pandemic, how your businesses have kind of had to adapt throughout the pandemic?
Yeah, just the pandemic, and even just being an entrepreneur and being in business, you're always striving to not only improve your business, get the name out there, but how to make it better, make sure you're getting value, and make sure you've got money coming in. A lot of this stuff, as you know, is a lot of work. Doing a podcast is not easy. You're finding that out right now. I know you're into video and all kinds of other stuff too. There's a lot of work behind the scenes. People think it's fun to just jump on the mic and, hey, you know what, have a conversation. That's not the end of it. As you know, there's now editing of this and whatever else you're doing with it. So there's a lot of work, and you have to make sure that you are bringing money in. As a business, we need to pay our rent and do all of those kind of things. So, the pandemic shut down all of my events. Thankfully, I have the podcasts and stuff that bring in money, and I was able to keep going. And now it's about looking at that pandemic and going, okay, how can we make sure that we're not in a position again where we could be so threatened that we might be thrown out of business? And a lot of businesses have lost their business because of the pandemic. So it's always improving, always looking at how things are going. I'm just about to shut down the podcast you mentioned, the Cashing On Creativity. I'm just about to shut it down. It's been going for 4 years because I started the radio station. I find things are duplicated. So now I'm going to move a lot of that stuff into the radio station. So I'll still be showcasing artists and stuff like that, but it'll be over on the radio side as opposed to a separate podcast. But those kind of things are decisions you have to make, because I'm going, it's been 4 years. I like doing it, but it's not growing the way I want. So I'm going to move that energy somewhere else, right? So those are the kind of decisions you make as a business owner and somebody who's a creative entrepreneur.
For sure, yeah. So one of my last questions is, and you sort of mentioned some of this, but as a young artist, what is one of the biggest pieces of advice that you could give to young artists in general?
Okay. Probably the first thing is keep improving your art. Whatever that art is, whether it's music or visual arts or whatever your craft is, keep improving. You are never ever done. I'm not done. I'm not at the top. There's always an artist ahead of me that I strive to be like or inspire. So always keep improving, but also realize that you can't just do art and, I don't just create a painting and then it all of a sudden sells. Right. You have to do a lot of business, which so if you are at that point where you're thinking this is something I might want to do for a long term or be part of my career, I know you and I have had those discussions. How are you taking that art and using it for business, or how can it apply to business? It's fun to be in a band, or it's fun to play guitar, or it's fun to, do a painting or cartoons. But there's a lot of artists that are not making money, and so they're not really in business, and they can't use it as a career. So how can you do that? There are ways to do that, but there's a lot of hard work. So always keep educating yourself, always keep improving your craft, and then start looking at how people are using their art in their business to have a successful career. And I think if you can do those, it sounds like a lot, but if you do a little bit at a time, your art is first, and then keep moving it along, you'll come up with a successful career down the road.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, that's some great pieces of advice. So we like to do at the end of our interviews, we like to do a little set of fast 5 questions.
Okay.
So here we go.
Here we go. I'm ready.
Here we go. All right. First question. What is your favorite movie soundtrack?
Movie soundtrack, Smokey and the Bandit. And if you're not old enough, you may not know that, but from the 1970s, that's my favorite movie altogether, Smokey and the Bandit.
That's awesome. How about instrument you wish you played?
Drums, like you.
Yeah, I remember you say you've wanted or you have taken drum lessons before.
I played drums for about 2 years when I was 13 to 15 years old, and I stopped because I thought I had to learn to read music. So now I'm actually looking at getting back into it, but I don't consider myself a drummer, but I've had a couple kits in my time.
That's good. That's very good. Those are the prime years to get into it, I think.
Yeah, I should have stayed. I should have stayed in it. I would have been like you.
It's never too late. You could, you for sure do some lessons. It's awesome.
I will. I was going to start some just when the pandemic started. So now I'm kind of waiting for everything to kind of clean up a little bit before I get back into it. So.
For sure. How about favorite concert you've attended?
Oh, geez, there's been so many. I love everything from Kiss to whatever, but I gotta say Johnny Reed. He's a country artist. I don't know if you know Johnny Reed, but Johnny Reed, he played in Hamilton here, and it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. I've seen great artists like Paul Anka and Kiss and Def Leppard all across, but I gotta say Johnny Reed's concert was one of the best, I thought.
That's awesome. What is your dream vacation destination?
Right now it's Barbados, where we go every year. That's where I like to go. I don't know if I have anything outside of that. Anywhere warm like the Caribbean. So I'm going to stick with Barbados. That's where we go. I already go there, but I don't have anything else on top of that. So I'll just leave it with that.
Do you have a trip booked this year?
Yeah, we do. We're just waiting to see how all the COVID stuff works.
For sure.
I do have a bucket list. Like I'd love to go to Australia. I'd love to go to Tahiti or something like that. But they're not driving. Like I'm happy going to Barbados. As long as I'm going somewhere warm, I'm cool with that.
Can't go wrong with that, right?
That's right.
And last but not least, do you have any hidden talents?
Hidden talents. Okay. I don't know what you're considering a hidden talent. Here's what people tell me. So I don't know if I have a hidden talent. I can't put rubber bands around my hand or do anything like that. That's probably what you're asking. But people say that like inspiring people online is a hidden talent. Some people tell me I do that. Well, I don't consider myself, like I don't go around going, oh, I hope I'm going to inspire somebody today. I just like everybody to feel good and I like to be happy. But people tell me so I don't know if you consider that a talent or not.
Oh, that's a talent for sure. Definitely.
If you're asking, could I put a bowl on my head or something and balance it? I can't do that. So.
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer. I came up with mine. I can bounce a tennis ball on a racket 200 times or something like that.
That's not me. You know. I'd like to be able to twirl drumsticks like you, though. Can I do that? How do I learn that? That's baton.
Don't ask me about that one. There's some really cool guys out there that can do it super well. I'm just the basics of that.
Have you ever thought of taking baton lessons? Because I think it's the same movement with your hands, right? So
yeah, that would be helpful. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Bruce. I said it wrong. Bruce, for taking the time. For taking the time today to talk a bit about your career and everything that you've done to date and are still currently doing.
That's awesome. And thanks for having me on. Thanks. Bandology is a great program. I've known of it. That's how you and I met, was through the Bandology program. It's a great program. I encourage anybody to go and do that. I know Lisa and Peter very well that are in charge of it. And you know what? Kudos to you, man. Look, you're now branching into another space. You just keep growing, and it's like watching this person morph, watching your career. So keep going. You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Appreciate that.
All right.
Take care. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. If you like what you heard, you can learn more about our organization at bandology.ca, which features information about music education, advocacy and research, and our Play a Gig and Bandcamp programs. Follow us on social media for more videos, performance, and interviews on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.